Good morning, traders. It is Monday, March 23rd, and we are about 3 hours into trading so far. Actually, 2 hours and 45 minutes. So let's take a look at what's going on. We had this very, very steady selling on Friday. Closed on the low, closed below major support levels this morning. The S&P 500 was down 50 points before the open. Then the Fed came in and said, we're buying everything. Everything's guaranteed. Bottomless pit. No problem. We're going to finance everything. Take a deep breath, everybody. Market's still selling off. Doesn't care so much about fiscal stimulus, doesn't care about tax breaks, doesn't care about helicopter drops of money. It cares about the virus and the spread of the virus. It doesn't even care about masks and equipment and ventilators and all that type of stuff. It cares about the spread of the virus. And right now, a base is being established. So there are a lot of test kits going out. There have been about 2 million test kits that have gone out and 2 million people that have been tested for it. I believe the incident rate is around 7% or so. It looks like the virus is spreading exponentially right now, but it's not. It's been here for a while. We are just trying to establish a base. The same thing happened in China, same thing happened in South Korea, same thing happened in Italy. Everybody freaked out as soon as these tests started to hit the market. And there are going to be new tests, some that only take 45 minutes. Those are being released now. But everybody seems to be on board all of a sudden with the hydroxychloroquine slash Z-Pack cocktail that I've been talking about for the last week. Even Dr. Oz is now financing his own clinical trial for this combination. President Trump said, get the stuff. Get it here and get it here now. If I got people on ventilators who want to be on it, these drugs are pre-approved by the FDA, I want to give it to them. I think this is the game changer. If it's as effective as we've seen in the clinical trials, if we can cure people who have coronavirus, if we can knock the spread of it down, and by the way, everything that I've seen in Chicago tells me that people are really staying home. They're trying to do their part, which is great. We need to knock down this curve. And if we can do that over the course of the next 2 weeks, everything will be fine. If it takes more than 3 or 4 weeks, the credit wheels will start wobbling. And there are all sorts of credit implications that could take place. I don't want to go there, but that's always got to be in the back of our minds. So, right now, I believe that we are close to a bottoming process. We may have another week or two of really negative news as people get really frightened when they start to see just how wide the coronavirus spread is. It's been here for a long time. We're just now finding out how widespread it's been. So, deep breath, everyone. Know that things are going to get better. A friend of mine lives in China. They said that China is getting back on its feet, and I mean quickly. Restaurants are reopening. People are back to work. It's a hustle and bustle, more so than ever. And they've got probably a 5 or 6 week lead on us, meaning they've already gone through this. There are no new cases of coronavirus in China. And by the way, they've been using this cocktail for a long time. This cocktail was also mentioned in my blog about 6 weeks ago. Some scientists in Thailand discovered it. It was also confirmed by a university in China. Not sure why it took so long for that news to get here, but those two drugs have very few side effects, and you can expect that there is going to be widespread distribution of this in the next few weeks. Mylan Labs and Teva Pharmaceuticals are trying to crank it out as much as they possibly can. Dr. Oz, who is pretty intimate with the information and has done some research on it, believes that there are 2 million doses of this available in the U.S., according to a press conference that I watched this morning. So this drug is available. This drug works. It has 100% efficacy in a French study that was done on a very small group. So the FDA can do whatever they need to do to get their warm fuzzy, but Trump is acting on this and he's getting it here now. So I think this is going to be a game changer for us. I think that in the course of the next week, we're going to see the lows in the market. Option implied volatilities are crazy, outrageously high. This is such a great time to sell out of the money puts naked on stocks that you want to own. So we're getting a little bit of a market bounce in here. You can see a nice 10p cross. We're starting to see it gain some traction here. Market's starting to come up. This was the prior low of the day. It's trying to push through that level. We are waiting on Congress and that $1.8 trillion bill for stimulus. So this is a helicopter drop of money. And they only get one of these. So that $1,200 check that's going out to Americans, that's pretty much going to be a one and done. We can expect lots of corporate bailouts to get us through this pinch. So I believe that in the course of the next week or two, everyone's going to start settling down, and we're going to start seeing that coronavirus spread decelerate in the next 3 weeks or so. Let's take a look at some technicals on the market right now. You can see this downward sloping trend line right here. I think this is a pretty critical one to watch. If you wanted to draw one that was a little bit steeper, you could start right here. Let's draw that in, and we'll click on that bar, and we'll click on this one. Those are two key levels that I would be watching from a buy standpoint. We've got to start getting through some technical support levels. You can see this horizontal support level that's been breached right now. Would I rush in and buy right now? Probably not. I would like to see, after a heavy round of selling like this, now again, this is barring that there's not any news from Congress passing the bill, but as it stands right now, I'd like to see a little bit of a test here, and then a higher low, and then yes, a breakout through that lower trend line right there. Yes, I think that would be a good entry point. Let's zoom out and let's take a look at the very, very long-term chart. I'm going to go to a monthly chart, and I have never referred to a monthly chart for technical support before, so this is kind of a first for me, but we're going to take a look at the 100-month moving average, which I referenced to subscribers this morning. It comes in around the 215 level, and we just about got there this morning. I think this is a major support level. You can go down to SPY 200, and that takes us right to this resistance level in here. So we should start finding support in here very, very soon. We're going to also take a look at the VXX because we're starting to see option implied volatility come in a bit. So mind you, right now, we are making a new 3-year low on the market. What is the VXX doing? Starting to come in. Option implied volatility is starting to decrease. That's a good sign. Now, before all is said and done, and before you would want to rush in and sell VXX, we need to see one more spike higher, which would probably come on another market sell-off, and then that lower high double top would give you a pretty clear path to short VXX. You could also use a very steep upward sloping trend line, but I think this is also going to be a good trade because the market can even continue to go down just at a very, very gradual pace, and VXX would come in. Market stays flat, even at this low level, VXX comes in. Market rallies, VXX really comes in hard. So under all those scenarios, VXX is a good short. It's something that you should consider. Still a little bit early right now. And I'm just seeing word in the chat room that Chuck Schumer says that they're close to a deal in Congress, and that's probably why we're getting a little pop in the market. So we're going to go back to the SPY chart. We're going to put that up on a 5-minute basis so that we can track what's going on. I like what I saw earlier. This is the kind of low that can yield a capitulation low. So let me tell you what that looks like. That looks like something where you've got this deep air pocket, a new relative low, you've got a gap down below prior support. So the high of the day was below that prior support. And you get a nice long green candle closing on its high. That would be a really good sign of a capitulation low if it happens. If we close on the high today, that would be a really, really good sign. Then what you'd be looking for is a gap higher and another long green bar closing on its high tomorrow. That would pretty much set the low. That would attract some institutional buying. That's what I'm hoping for. And I think it's a little bit early right now, quite honestly. I think that we've got another week or two of nervousness in the marketplace. So the other part to that is after a monster decline like this and heavy selling, do not expect a V bottom right away. It's going to be a nice rally up. Perhaps we get somewhere into the high 200s, maybe 280, 285, and then we should see another leg down on worries that a credit crisis might ensue or that the economic recovery will be slower. But I'm expecting that that initial bounce is going to come off of a slower spread of the coronavirus and the fact that there's a possible treatment out there. But then we've got the aftermath that we need to deal with. Businesses struggling with credit, people not spending money readily because they are still out of work or just starting to get back to work. So they're watching their finances very carefully. So we get that another pullback, and it'll be a bottoming process with a series of higher lows. Could take a few months, maybe even 6 months to form. And then gradually we should start to see the market recovery. That's an awful lot of ifs in there, but that's how I see things playing out. I love selling out of the money, naked puts, going 30% out of the money right now, focusing on that April 17th expiration date. You should watch my video from yesterday. I posted it immediately to YouTube. SHOP was a stock that I highlighted. We can take a look at that. I showed you why. Great balance sheet. You can see that if you did that trade early today, that stock was down to $333 after the first 10 minutes of trading. So you should have been able to get those 175 puts off. I saw some trade at that price. Look at the stock now. Hello, looking pretty good. Yes, I would buy SHOP at a 50% discount to its current price in the next month. And if I don't get the chance to buy it at a 50% discount, I'm going to be rewarded to the tune of a 10% return. Annualized 120% return. You betcha I'll take the other side of that. For sure. Those trades are out there left and right. You need to focus on strong balance sheets. You come into Option Stalker, you click on the stock ER. There's your key ratios right there. You can see cash per share, debt per share. Okay, so that's how we do it. In this case, SHOP has a very high PE ratio, but it has off the chart growth rates, somewhere in the 47% revenue growth rate year over year. Yeah, I like this one a lot. Let's take a look at some other stocks that have been coming up. LRCX is one that I think has a good balance sheet. On the tech side, chips were strong early today, but they have recently started to pull back a little bit. So we got to be careful there. But I think some of these chip makers are going to be really decent as well. You can put AMD in there as well. That balance sheet looks very, very strong. Let's take a look at that. And bring AMD up. And you can see how AMD is above the low of the day. It's got great relative strength because this orange line is above zero. We'll go into that stock ER. You can see they've got cash. They could pay for their debt, no problem. PE ratio is a little bit high, but graphic chips are in high demand. They're using them for pretty much everything. So I think AMD has fantastic growth prospects. So let's see if we can get back into that LRCX chart. And there you can see how the stock is bouncing off of its low of the day right in here. We'll go into that balance sheet, stock ER. You can see this company trades at a very low forward PE of 9. It has $32 in cash, $31 in debt. It could pay off all of its debt. It's not going to. Most of these corporations have financed their debt at very, very low rates. The point here is they got a ton of cash. So really, really strong balance sheet. They can weather this storm. So stocks like this make a lot of sense to me. They could have supply disruptions for some of the chip makers. So I think you need to be a little bit careful with that. Let's go through and take a look at some stocks and see what we can find. Roku was another one that we liked this morning. So I'm down right now about $8 on LRCX. It's my only long. Every other trade I've done today I've made money on. Made money on Roku. I like Roku. Think it's starting to show some strength in here. People going to watch more TV if they're home? Yes, they are. Roku caters to that market. They don't have a great balance sheet though, so this is more of a day trade for me. REGN made great money on this. I made about $6 a share on average on this one today. And you can see how the stock has been holding up very well relative to the market. On a daily basis, that orange line is above zero. You can see it's a mover, but it's had a very strong showing today. Great relative strength. So one of our members pointed it out in here. I got long in here. I sold somewhere up in here. You can see how it moves, but the overall trend is higher. This is the type of stock that you have to buy on pullbacks. So there's your upward sloping trend line. Yes, you'd be wanting to buy it somewhere in this 456 range. You got to bid for it. You get taken out, and then it goes up for its next leg, and set your targets. Let them come to you. That's how you play these wild stocks like this. Let's see. Take another look here and see what else we've got popping up. I'm going to go into one of my favorite searches recently, which is Bull Run, and we're looking for relative strength on a 5-minute basis. That is not a bad looking stock. You've got it breaking down through this downward sloping trend line, long green candles closing on their high. But quite honestly, I'd like to see a little bit of a tighter pattern in here, and I don't want to chase something like this. So I'm just going to click through. This is nice. VTR. This is a hospital real estate investment trust. That is the kind of grind that you want to get behind on your trades today. Just a nice, steady move higher, lots of relative strength. You don't want to see these pockets too much like that. So we're going to keep looking, see what else we can find in here. May take me a minute to find it. This is pretty nice. CTRE. I don't know who this is. I don't know what they do, but I do like the price action. You can see the relative strength all day long. Going to come down here and see what else we've got. Looking for stocks. HLT, Hilton. Starting to see some of these hotels rally. Obviously, they like the news that the Fed will provide them any support that they need to tie them over this period. So you're going to see some of these really, really hard soul stocks like your Carnival Cruise Lines, Royal Caribbean, airline stocks, hotels. Those are going to get a pop on the news that came out from the Fed this morning. So those also look like they're pretty good longs in here. ZM has been off to the chart, off to the races. That stock is taking advantage of people being out from school and work. They offer virtual online courses and meetings, and that stock is super, super strong right now. Lots of universities using it. Many high schools are talking about not even resuming the school year and just continuing their lesson plans online. This could change education from this point forward. I think that this virus is going to change the way that we do a lot of things, and I think education could be one of them. FIVE, just looking down the chart, you can see here long tails under body. Stock has been able to hold this support level while the market has been tanking. You can see the relative weakness in here, but if you went to a 2-hour chart, you would probably see relative strength. And there you go. Yes, relative strength. It has been able to hold its own while the market's moving lower. This stock looks like it has the potential to break out. Well, what do I do with that information? How would I know? How do I know when it's ready? Well, I come into the alert section of the 5-minute chart, just click on alert, double click on this bar right here because I would want to know if the stock were able to get through that level. If it's able to, yeah, let me know. I'm going to take another look at it. It's had good relative strength so far. If it can get through this resistance level from the day, I want to know about it. I'm going to get a pop-up chart or pop-up window right in the middle of this chart. I click OK, and it's going to take me right to the stock. Lulu, I had noticed earlier, that looked pretty good as well. Oh yeah, Lulu making a new high of the day. I like that. Even with the market down, 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 let's get that 5-minute chart back up so that we can track what the market's doing on a 5-minute basis. You can see market drift, 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 lower. Lulu, boom, boom, boom. There are buyers in this stock. I love having my chart set up this way because then I can watch tick for tick what the stock is doing relative to the market. Lulu wants to go. So I think that's another good one. We'll put up that daily chart. Yes, Lulu, look at this. Bouncing off that low, running when the market's been selling off hard, this is a good stock. That's how we do this. You bring up these searches, bull run, relative strength 30, heavy buying. These are all great day trading searches. Then we go through and we look for that relative strength. It's really not hard to do. We wait for the market to come in, and I'll show you based on the 10P indicator what we do. Last Friday was a classic example. We're in here, we get a bullish cross. Let's start loading up on some stocks that we like with relative strength. We start coming up here, it starts to peak. Start taking profits on your stocks that have relative strength. Go to cash. Now I am in cash. I have not been shorting stocks. That was probably not a great play on my part, but I feel that on the short side, stocks have been pounded so hard that they take 3 steps downward and 2 steps back. And it's very, very hard to hold these short positions. I would not want to hold a short position ahead of this congressional vote on the stimulus package, by the way. And so typically, though, when we get a cross like this, now all of a sudden we'd be shifting into bearish mode and we would be shorting stocks with relative weakness. We get a nice cross in here. Okay, you're going to start taking profits on your shorts in here and wait for the next signal. Okay, we get a buy signal. Would I aggressively be buying in here? Well, it's got to get above the prior day low. No, not really. Not a strong buy. You can nibble. You can get in there. But then you get another cross in here. Yeah, you take out the low from the day. Yeah, that would be a good short in there. So that's how we do it. And here you've got this cross here that tells you can start buying stocks. We did. Went in, took some profits on stocks, got out of everything except for LRCX. You get a bearish cross in here. Uh-oh, you got a new low of the day. Uh-oh, probably should be out of all of your longs at this point. Now you get the bullish cross, and now you start scaling back into some of your long position stocks with relative strength. That's why we keep this up in the background at all times. We can see exactly what our stance should be in the market, and we use these stocks with relative strength and relative weakness as surrogate stock positions because we have an edge, and our edge is that we're trading relative strength. So let's say that I were long stocks in here, right in here, and I started buying, and the market ran up, and then it went boom, and it sold off hard. The stocks that I'm in with relative strength are going to hold up very, very well. Maybe I've even got a profit in the trade. Certainly I should be able to scratch it or take a very small loss. It's that time. It's that cushion. That's what gives us our edge. Huge edge in trading stocks using this system. So for right now, I like what I see. Got long tails under body. We've got the vote coming up very soon. Chuck Schumer tells us that should be able to pass. They've got enough votes for it. The market was sending a warning to Congress this morning. You better get this bill signed or we're going to sell the heck out of this market. Now we're above that low of the day previously. That support is holding with long candles under body. So I think that the market is going to stabilize in here. More importantly, I think that we've got a week, maybe 2 weeks of soft price action in here. And then I think we find support on that major technical level, the 100-month moving average. Gosh, maybe we get down to SPY 200. I doubt it. I'm personally going to start scaling in somewhere around this level. I'm going to take it very easy, and I will opt first to sell out of the money, naked puts on stocks that I really want to own, much lower than current prices, and I'll be rewarded somewhere in the area of 10 to 15% if those puts expire worthless. That's the kind of trade I'm looking to take. That's a great strategy. All of my swing traders are, they're not completely in cash because we've been selling naked puts for the last week, but largely in cash. It's time to start deploying some of your cash. I think this treatment's really going to be the game changer, and it's going to get everybody's psyche back into the fact that this is a temporary event and that we're going to get back on track. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you like the content of this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you never miss another one of these videos. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.